So, welcome to episode 2 of Yoni Talks. I'm really happy to be here with you today, Kate Watkinson, yoga teacher, yogini, Qoya practitioner, trauma sensitive practitioner, yoga practitioner, amongst many other talents. And I'm really happy to have this time together with you to just share a little bit on the work you're doing and anything that you can offer to help uplift the planet, basically. And the aim of these podcasts is Yoni Talks, interviewing inspiring women. And you certainly are one of those people. So thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you, Jeanette. It's fun. Yeah, I've always respected you and the work that you do in the world. And, you know, over the 10 years we've known each other, seen that journey that we've both taken to really step into what we're called to do and who we're called to be in this world. So, yeah, it's awesome to have this time.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us where you're based. You actually are physically living in,
So yeah, I'm in Murihuku, Southland, but I tend to do the joke has been that my car is my yoga studio because I tend to go places to do some of my mahi and can also do some of it online as well. But yeah, travel to places for some of the work that I share. And yeah, it's nice. I think I really value the freedom to be able to do that and yeah, to be able to connect with different people in different ways in different spaces. Hmm.
Mhm. So Thrive in Light is your business name, thriveinlight.co.nz. People can find you under that website. And tell us a little bit about your mahi. I mean, you're involved in so many different things and you're studying yourself again. I always, you always for me were learning. You're sort of perpetually, we're both kind of perpetual course takers. We're always like wanting to learn a little bit more, and you really do embody that for me. And you're in the midst of your studies. Tell us a
Mhm.
little bit about your studies.
So at the moment, I'm nearly halfway through my Bachelor of Counselling. Yeah, and I, yeah, I love learning. Like I feel, yeah, there's always another layer of richness that then I'm able to share with people that I engage with. So initially, when I started Thrive and Light, I was mainly sharing like community yoga classes. So uh, teaching yoga regularly. And then I did my Qoya teacher training. So then it was sharing that conscious movement practice. And then I did trauma sensitive yoga training. And now I'm doing my counselor training. And someone made the comment to me the other day, oh, that's quite a random set of things that you've been doing. And I was like, really, for me, they all thread and weave. And my vision with Thrive and Light is brave spaces for people to thrive. So any of those offerings for me are all about holding a space for people to be able to come home to who they truly are, like release some of the conditioning, release some of the societal expectations, and to come home the wisdom, the knowing, the joy that's within them. Yeah, and yeah, all of those practices that I share are ways in which people can do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about Koya for those, yoga is a term that we hear a lot of. Koya. What is Koya?
Hmm. So it's actually a Chequuan word from South America, and it can either mean Northern Star, which is like following your sense of guidance, purpose, what you're moving towards. It can also mean queen. And so queen is, say, less to do with royal family and more to do with being a sovereign, like having agency and autonomy to live in a way that you're really called to. Yeah. And it essentially combines aspects of yoga and dance. But I think the word dance sometimes freaks people out.
Yeah.
But it's
Yep.
really about moving in conscious ways, moving in ways that are true. So in Qoya, we often have, well, we always have a theme, and we take a really considered journey throughout the time where we come together in community and connect, and we begin to be intentional about our breath, about our movement. We do things like circling different parts of our body uh, to release some of that accountable, logical, linear way of being and to move into more of a rhythmic, cyclical, feminine way of being, connecting with our heart, womb and hips. There's a part where we move into a shadow contrast where we honor what sometimes people might call like challenging feelings or like a safe container to express what we might not always be able to express. And then we shake as a way of release, as medicine. Yeah, and then we come together in for a fun dance. Yeah, so sometimes Koya it is fun. It's just fun. And other times it's like cathartic, like there might be quite a release. Yeah, but it's a sacred container, I think, for expression. Yeah, a way that uh, we can tap into the wisdom of our body. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just listening to you really reminds me of the power of, for women particularly, but for men also, the divine feminine lives in the male form too, of connecting to our intuition,
Mm,
feeling that we're in a safe space to be able to connect to that intuition for one, and then to express in a somatic or in a physical way what needs to be moved. And yeah, the conditioning in society about dance, and even, when we do kirtan chanting or singing, oh, I can't sing, I can't sing, I can't dance. And it's so sad, isn't it, that
mm.
to that kind of conditioning, I guess. So it's beautiful to hear that there are these practices that can provide a safe space for people to break that down and reconnect. Yeah.
Yeah, I often think about like what young children do innately before they've been so overtly conditioned out of things. But they'll often sing, they'll often dance, they'll often have like tantrums because it is actually a physiological release of a buildup of energy, you know. So these things are innate and they're natural, and we've sort of been taught out of them. Yeah. Or they've become something that's attached to having a performance or an evaluation or not being socially acceptable, whatever. But they are innate ways of being. And really, it's a remembering. I often share with people like um, that some of these journeys are about releasing some of that conditioning and remembering who we are, what's already in us. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. It's a returning back to, it's not creating something new. It's a returning home, isn't it?
100%. And I think that's such an empowering, encouraging, it's a feminine way of looking at things, and it's much less pathological, like pathologized in some aspects of our
Yes.
culture that can make people feel wrong. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, so like some of those practitioners like Gabor Mate and people that are like starting to ask questions like what happened to you or who was there for you rather than what's wrong with you. So yeah, this reclamation of a way of being. I mean, it takes some bravery to do that because we are all so conditioned to show up in the world in a certain way.
It does. And that's what spoke to me about, on your website. You're offering brave spaces for you to thrive. And it does take bravery, 100%, 100%. And to feel safe enough in your nervous system, to be sort of regulated enough in your nervous system to be able to step into something that's unfamiliar takes a lot of bravery, and you have to really want it too. There is an element of deeply wanting something to either change in your body, maybe it's changing in your life, or maybe there's health and disease, maybe there's a health crisis where you actually know that you just cannot continue on in the same way. And that wonderful saying, when the fear of continuing on in the same way is not as big as the fear of actually changing it. I don't think I have that right, but
Mhm.
um, when you know you have to make a change through stress response, or maybe it's manifesting as illness, you just know you have to make a change. So offering these spaces is massive, particularly actually, I'm thinking now where you are in Southland and in New Zealand. I actually think, I live rurally too, although Tasman isn't as remote as Southland. But I actually think it's really important for people in New Zealand, Aotearoa, because there can be a sense of isolation, um, from a farming background, both you and I. And I think the more that we can provide spaces like this throughout the country, throughout the world, the healthier our planet is going to be. So hats
Mm.
off to you for delving deeper and offering spaces.
Yeah,
Offering.
and the connection, that human relational aspect is so powerful, and I
Mm,
think it speaks to so many things. Like it makes an individual less isolated, less wrong, and more connected and more aware that actually, because all of us will be affected by things that happen in our lives, whether it's grief or some kind of traumatic event or a challenge at, so uh, how we can navigate that, I think in the past has often been from a Eurocentric model, has been very much an individual journey. If you think about the likes of traditional counselling or therapy, whereas from an Indigenous model, like here in Aotearoa, like from a Māori perspective, that whānau, the collective, your whakapapa, your ancestry, like, yeah, knowing that you don't have to do these things alone, knowing that all humans are having experiences, we can hold each other. Yeah, there's great power in that.
yes, absolutely. I mean, we're in an age of connectivity through this, grateful to be able to connect to you with you through this. But at the same time, we're at an age of incredible feelings of isolation and loneliness. So, yeah, and with this epidemic, a mental health epidemic, you could call it, how do you see your work? You talk about the bottom up approach to therapy. How do you see, well, maybe describe that, what that means for you, and how do you see that as helping in this mental health crisis we seem to be in?
Hmm. It's interesting that I'm doing my counselling degree at the moment, and my entry into that had come from a very much a somatic field, So, uh, yeah, that I had done so much with the body over years, and now I'm coming into an environment that's, say,
Mm,
been known has been known as more top down, which means more cognitive. Like if you look at traditional talk therapy, which was uh, based on cognition and yeah, whereas the bottom up is much more like what's coming into your body, like what sensations are coming in, the interoceptive experience, those signals that are coming in, what messages are sending to your nervous system, the sense of uh, either safety or dysregulation that comes from that, and then what that does in your brain, and then what then comes back down through your body again. So I'm really encouraged that I feel like we're coming into a new era where there's more validity of and respect for bottom-up approaches. So nervous system being, yeah, aware of body sensations and the power of your body to create a sense of safety and ease, rather than necessarily, and it's not to dismiss talk therapy because it
Oh,
has a place too. And actually, ultimately, I feel like the integration of both bottom up and top down is the great gift. I guess it's more to honor the whole person. Like we are not just a brain walking around. There's a whole person there, and that holistic aspect really appeals to me. Yeah. And
mm-hmm.
and a lot of this, Jeanette, is ancient wisdom that's really just being validated by modern science in many ways. Like, yeah.
True. It's like we're coming full circle now, aren't we? It's like we had to go so far down that cognitive, thinking path to now come full circle and return back. Like we were saying before, returning home, returning back to your
Mhm.
roots, to yourself. And you're right, acknowledging the indigenous wisdom and acknowledging our intuition. And
Mm.
I think that's the kind of maybe more female view of the body, or a female view of nurturing through pain and suffering, is a very holistic, connected, community centric, intuitive healing, intuitive healing. So,
Yeah, I think it's a really empowering model, rather than
mm,
some of our other models, uh, yeah, could have elements of power over, or
yes,
yeah, that did have aspects of being pathological or whatever. But this real move to uh, yeah, to understanding the wholeness of not just the person and their body and their feelings and their sensations, but also who they are in their, like, yeah, in their community, in their family,
mm,
how society, how the discourses, how the constructions, how everything plays into um, what's happening for us.
yes, as a felt sense, as a lived experience in your own body. And if we're just focusing on women here, through the different phases, through the various beautiful transitions that we as women get to experience, from menarche, first period, all the way through to pregnancy, breastfeeding, well, the actual birthing process, breastfeeding. These are called siddhis. They're the superpowers that a woman has that we go through in our body, to perimenopause, menopause, and then our Dumavati crone years. So they're all incredible passages of transformation, and I think even more potent, particularly, I mean, it's my age group, but through the perimenopause, menopause years, we can often feel lost and things are changing in our body, and it can be a very sort of unsettling time. But to know that, to trust your body, come back again to your body's wisdom, and to honor it, and respect,
Mhm.
and that it's natural and it's life. And yeah, so all that is just so wonderful, and actually leads me to the next point of the superpower of the female brain. I read this on your website, and you're such a great writer. Even back from our yoga teacher training days, I always admired your assignments, your writing. You have some blogs on your website, and the one actually was from, you were highlighting the work of Dr. Brizendine, a psychiatrist from Harvard Medical. And it states that every brain starts as a female brain. Like that actually blows my mind. Every brain starts as a female brain and only becomes male after 8 weeks of conception. And the title is The Superpower of the Female Brain. So, what do you see as some of the superpowers of the female brain that we can maybe just highlight to help us through some difficult times?
Yeah. So just disclaimer, I don't want to pretend that I'm a psychiatrist or neurobiologist myself to go into great detail of the
Of
brain.
course.
I'm very passionate about the power of woman, and yeah, I really, well, I know and it's become even more apparent to me in recent times that we have just been so conditioned to not trust ourselves, and all those passages, like those sacred passages you talked about. coming into our bleeds and coming into menopause. Like we've been made to feel either shamed about them or frustrated with them, or um, or be medicalized by them. Like to reframe that from that position of a city, of a superpower, like, wow, to, yeah, that's hugely affirming.
isn't it?
Yeah, and I think for women, our superpowers rest in being in relationship with our body, the immense power that's within our body, uh, moving our bodies in ways that feels good but feels true to us. Like that's one of the aspects with Qoya, movement that feels true to you. Uh, yeah, our capacity to relate and connect and be in attached like relationships with people with depth and meaning. Yeah, our intuition, like our inner knowing, which I believe all of us have,
Mm.
like a sense of purpose and yeah, to me, they're the great superpowers of being woman.
Beautifully said. Wonderful, wonderful. Takes me on to looking at your retreat that you're offering. So, for the listeners out there that want to experience some of your beautiful mahi and your offerings, firstly, there's your website to go to, and they can also book with you online.
Yeah, I don't actually have a booking as such online, but
They can
because people can work with me privately on Zoom and things, but just be in touch. Yeah.
nice contact you directly. And tell
Mhm.
me about your Restoring Radiance retreat. Sounds
Hmm.
delicious.
So yeah, I've been holding space and retreats for about 10 years now, and I just value them as a container for depth. It's really powerful to have that bit more spaciousness and say, you might go to an hour yoga class or 2 hour Qoya class or whatever, but to have uh, a bit more time to really be and to connect, like it's it is, I mean, it sounds a bit naff to say, but it's a great privilege to hold that space for people and to witness the journey that people take in that time to
Mm,
some of it is that release of some conditioning, some remembering of who they are, the deep connections with all aspects of themselves, and with each other and with nature, always with nature as well. Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful sacred offering, I think.
mm,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I would just like to acknowledge too that I realize that the retreat space is a privileged space, and so there's other work that I do that I really value as well, because I'm also aware that some of these offerings and even yoga itself is not what some people would be called to come into those spaces. But when I do, like the trauma yoga work I do, I really value that because I connect with women in those spaces that are receiving the medicine and the gifts and connecting, remembering, but who, for lots of reasons, would probably not consider coming into
Mm,
the spaces, into a community yoga class or into a retreat. Yeah, for very good reason.
absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. The inequality really still out there, and the maybe the public image of going to retreats or classes, and let alone the financial, of course,
Mhm.
but also the demographic and the image out there of who goes to a yoga class. What's the demographic?
Yeah.
For everybody to feel, welcome.
Mm. Yeah, I had an encounter recently with a beautiful woman that was at a trauma yoga class who shared with me. at one point about her real reluctance to come. And when we spent some time with that, and she ended up saying, just really honestly, she goes, "Oh, so she was a young Māori woman, and she said, oh, because you know, yoga's just for skinny white ladies and Lululemon tights." And so it was this real moment of like, of course, of course, she has every right to think that because that's what you see. Yeah, and we ended up spending some time. We talked quite a bit about the Te Whare Tapawhā Māori health model and like really how what we were sharing in that yoga class was aspects of Te Whare Tapawhā, was movement with your body, connection with your spirit, connection with whānau, with people around you, with brain body connection, So that was a bridge, I guess, that we, both of us in some way connected
Yeah.
through the bridge. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. It's really, really important that you bring that up, actually. Tell us, I saw also on your website, so you had that retreat for those wanting to go to that retreat. What are the dates of that retreat? In case
Well, I'm going to tell you that that retreat is now sold
it's
out.
booked. Okay, there you go.
Um, so so generally, I'm sharing retreats once a year.
No,
Yeah. And so keep an eye out, and it may even be more frequently once I've done my study.
fair enough.
Uh,
Fair.
so yeah, and I pop up in random places throughout. Hasn't been the North Island yet, but throughout the South Island. So yeah, there's different ways that I come to be in places sharing tools. Yeah.
I saw on your website too, Soul Oracles alongside your Soul blog. Tell us what the Soul Oracles are and what that offering is.
I guess it's a way to encourage people that we do all have this amazing wisdom, insight, knowing, and maybe moments to bring reverence and sacredness into your day. Yeah, that is accessible.
Mm, mm. So people contact you, you do a soul reading, is that right? Or
Oh, no, no, sorry. So they're just little snippets of inspiration, that part of the website is. But yeah,
okay,
it's more that uh that opportunity to bring some moments of, yeah, of reverence,
perfect.
sacredness into your day. Yeah.
Perfect. And I think that's, attending these things, attending classes, it's something maybe this is just a great reminder of the power of ritual, of your own ritual, whether that's taking a deep breath at sunrise or it's saying a silent prayer at sunset or stepping outside and just hands on heart taking a deep breath and your own ritual whatever means whatever it speaks to you connecting to your ancestors your indigenous wisdom or your practice that you're embodying at the time. And I think it is through seasons too. I know you do work a lot with bringing in the seasons and our connection to nature, of the importance of ritual.
Mm.
Yeah. Can you speak?
Yeah. And yeah, I'm wondering if for some people, ritual might like feel good, and other people they might be responsible. What's ritual and what does it even mean? But I guess it's really moments of, I would say, reverence where you feel like some sort of sense of awe, and connection. And because a lot of what our life about is about now can take us away from that. So just small moments that we return back to, having moments of gratitude. Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that is part of that remembering who we are at our essence.
Absolutely. So
Mm.
for somebody listening out there who, maybe is feeling stuck or something in their lives, or maybe they're going through illness, or they think, hey, like I was thinking about going to see a counselor, or maybe I need to see someone, or sometimes somebody else says that to you. Have you ever seen someone, or would you consider seeing a counselor? And they can be a bit bamboozled by all the myriad of offerings that are out there. What would you say to that person if you could just speak to them, the complete sort of newbie on the path, so to speak, and maybe just one knowing that something's not right and wanting to reach out? What would you say to that person? Where can
Mm.
they start?
Yeah, I feel like a starting point that's easy and accessible and not overwhelming uh, would be good. And it might be a uh, simple, easy, quick physiological, I call them physiological tools, but ways in which you can tap into the wisdom of your body. So it might be a breathing exercise or a body-based movement, but just something that gives you, it regulates you and resources you enough to tap into some of that inner knowing. And from that place, you might then explore who is a fit for me. Because if you're doing any of this work, the relationship is really important. You want to feel safe with this person and that they have unconditional positive regard for you and empathy and integrity. Yeah, so having that sense that this is the right fit, this is a good um,
Mm-hmm.
a relationship I'd want to engage with. Yeah, some of those tools I was saying about that might just help resource you or tap back into intuition is these are just two that come to mind that are quick and easy, but one is the physiological side where you breathe in your nose and then a second short sip in your nose and then a long out your mouth. So like 3 rounds of those is been proven to return your body back to optimal diaphragmatic breathing, to reduce anxiety and stress in real time, so in that moment. And that takes like less than a minute really and can be sort of done anywhere. Another one is like this butterfly hug where you might come to your to massage or tap your upper arms or upper chest area. Yeah, and I guess these tools, different ones work for different people, but they elicit a sense of safety and trust and returning home, yeah, in real time.
Absolutely. I even feel that now, just from those, few breaths that we took together, and just that, just putting your hands, that butterfly hug, is that called? Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of different science behind this, but essentially you're crossing the midline of your body, and it will depotentiate your amygdala, so the alarm part of your brain, which is ultimately there to keep you safe and to sense for signals of danger. But if that's activated all the time, then you will be in a state of high alert often. So these kind of tools will help just reassure your amygdala, hey, everything's good here. We're safe. Uh, yeah. And so then that returns you to that way of being in a regulated, resourced nervous system response.
wonderful. The
Mm.
bottom up approach. That's what you're meaning by that, the
Yeah,
somatic
those two are bottom up approaches. Absolutely. Hmm.
techniques. So accessible, amazing, incredible. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
Hmm. I I do think we're at really exciting times. I think the era that we're in can appear as chaotic and messy and uh, challenging. So I'm not at all underestimating that, but I trust that within that we're moving into a whole new way of being where, yeah, our power as women, yeah, we'll be able to step into. And I think it's exciting.
So exciting, absolutely. And it's through speaking to you, I'm lifted up and I'm empowered by hearing your work. And if we all just keep in our own way lifting up and supporting each other, and you're right, it's exciting times. It's exciting times. So thank you so much, Kate.
Thank
Thank
you so much, Jeanette. It was fun.
So fun to see you again. Hari Om, take care. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you so much.
Blessings, blessings, blessings.